Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Good
Jeremy.
evening.
Hello, Jimmy.
Yeah, how are you?
Happy days. Yep.
Good. Great to see so many connecting in already, guys. Great to have you on with us. We're just going to have a real good chat about the whole concept of church planting. Um, on with two brothers tonight. Jimmy is the church planting coordinator for Elam, Scotland, and Jeremy is down planting in Carrick-on-Shannon in the Republic of Ireland. And so, if we're going to hear a wee bit of Jimmy's story tonight, we're going to introduce him properly in a wee second. And if you want to hear mine and Jeremy's story into the whole church planting um, area, then you can connect the videos on down a few months ago on the page. But great to have you in with us. Great to see so many in starting off already. And so Jimmy is and Jeremy as well. We use this as a joke. We're brothers from another mother. and and so I got to know Jimmy through the whole training process within Elam, and very quickly he started to realise that we had the same heart. So, Jeremy, why don't you just take a second and introduce yourself again first, and then we'll get Jimmy to introduce and begin to tell us a story.
Yeah, no problem. For those that don't know me, my name's Jeremy Burke. Currently pastoring a church plant in Carrick-on-Shannon, County Leitrim, in the Republic of Ireland. We've been here now for, my wife Leslie and I, we've been here now for what, 3.5 years or so. So yeah, that's a very quick introduction. Good to be here tonight.
Brilliant. If you're watching maybe from Scotland, you don't know me. My name's John. Being on a ministry journey, a pioneering journey for a while, we're pioneering in different locations, or at least with COVID, we're doing our best to do some pioneering in multiple locations at the minute. Everything's a wee bit up in the air, but great to have you. Jimmy, introduce yourself and share a wee bit of your story, bro.
Hi, yeah, my name's Jimmy. I'm from Bathgate in West Lothian, and I've been in ministry full time 9 years. If you would have asked me about church planting 9 years ago, I would have been terrified. It didn't interest me at all. Even when I was at Bible college, and they would you would get Dave Betts, was a great church planting guy, and I heard his testimony, and I just thought, oh my goodness, it scared the life out of me. I wanted to be an evangelist. That's all I wanted to do. My heart is just to see people saved, really. Uh, and I went to Gary Gibbs, who's the head of Reach for Elam within church planting. I went to an Alpha induction night, and I'm sure it was Derby when I was doing Bible college, and he was driving and he just turned around to me and he went, Jimmy, you've got a pioneering spirit. You're going to pioneer something. And I nearly hit the dashboard. It was just like, the words of God just confirmed right in my spirit. And it was quite a difficult couple of years before I planted. But basically, I got a phone call from Gary one day and he says, look, go and plant a church. And I was like, right, okay, where? And he was like, anywhere. And I was like, right, okay. I had not a clue about church planting, how to do church planting. And I prayed for a while and it was confirmed about Bathgate. And and this is the whole thing about the crazy thing about planting, there was no formula. There was, I never had a team round about me. So I would just go through Bathgate talking to people, on the streets and telling them that there was potentially going to be a church started. I started renting a building, and if I could go back now, I wouldn't do it again. And I gave out about maybe 300 leaflets for Alpha. We spent a fortune on a buffet, and I thought revival was going to come to Bathgate, and I just hit the floor. The first night nobody turned up. I went home and I cried my eyes out, and I says, God, is this what planting looks like? Because if it does, I'll probably stop the process here. And God really spoke to me through Nehemiah that night. And he said, Jimmy, I'm looking for the heart of a repairer. See,
Mm.
God does not broken things. God is a God who just likes to restore people, communities. And I started to read Nehemiah, about how Nehemiah, when he heard about the walls were burnt, he just hit the deck and started crying. And his heart was to go back there and do some repair work. And I was like, right, God, how is this going to work? How's it going to work? And somebody prophesied over me that I didn't know. And at the time, there's a big open air market in Bathgate. It's not there anymore. But I was saying, is this potentially an outreach to witness? And somebody says to me, you have to be a minister in the marketplace. And I just went, wow. So I set up a stall with second-hand items. Most of them we gave away for nothing, so we weren't there to make money. We were there to connect and pray for people. So, we started connecting with people, just for being familiar, praying with them, just getting to know them. And then we started a little alpha, probably about 3 or 4 of us in the house, and it started from there really. 9 years ago, and we've been going 9 years in Bathgate now. The church is quite strong. And about 18 months ago, there's a town in about 1.5 miles called Armadale. Now, I didn't know if I would plant again. It wasn't in my heart, really. But I went to Armadale, and God confirmed it very strongly that we had to go in and plant there. And so 18 months ago, we went in, started praying about the town, just going about the streets, trying to pray for people. And, we I said I wouldn't do it again, but we rented a little building, a scout hall. And, the whole process about planting, Jesus says in John 5, he says, my Father has been working until now, and I've been working. And I think a key to church planting is saying, God, how are you working in this place? Yeah. Rather than going in and just, because we exhaust ourselves. We know what it's like to church plant. We exhaust ourselves, and, but it's a good idea to say, God, how are you working here? What do you want here? And in Armadale, we'd seen a couple of little bits of fruit, but, I was frustrated that we weren't seeing people saved. And it was confirmed through Isaiah 58 3 times. Feed the hungry, clothe the poor. So basically, my wife got a grant through her work, and we partnered with his church down in Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And we got 20,000 pounds worth of food and clothes and Brilliant. Toys for 2.5 grand. So at the Christmas time there, we gave away to schools, community groups. We had a big night where people just came in, and then we seen about 7 people saved, and then COVID hit, and we were like, oh, but that's where we are, kind of.
Brilliant.
Just now, and we just have to trust in God that He knows what He's doing. But that's kind of been my journey so far.
Yeah. It's brilliant, and a lot of people are in the same position. Just we certainly found ourselves that. I'm sure, Jeremy, you could say the same. Just building momentum in the things that we were doing, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and there's so many churches, so many pioneering initiatives, new churches, and all of that found themselves in a very, very similar place. It really is crazy the way everything is being disrupted. And just for anybody watching, if you have any questions about the things that we're talking about, or anything in relation to evangelism, church planting, making disciples in your street, whatever it is, whatever that looks like in your context, whatever you have in your heart, throw it into the comments, and some of us, I'm sure, will be able to have a go at answering your questions. If not, we'll find out and get back to you. But comments is a place to do that. I can see them here, and we'll get them up and we'll answer them. But so, knowing your heart and seeing that come alive more and more over the past while, and the thing that really caused you to want to plant churches was your heart just to see people saved. Talk a wee bit, Jimmy, about just, and Jeremy chip in, this whole concept of having a burden for people who aren't walking with God, knowing that if they're to die, they're not going to heaven, they're going straight to hell, and the burden that we carry in the work that we do for people like that. How did that process start with you?
I mean, the whole, one of my favourite verses is Ecclesiastes 3:11, for God has put eternity into the heart of man.
Yeah.
And I try and teach this to the church, evangelistically. When you look at someone eternally. When you look at someone, you have to see that God has planted something of eternity into that person. And the whole thing about that person is, we should have this heart that says, I would dread to think of someone, who's made for eternity to be separated from God for that eternity. And that's the burden that we should carry in mission, church planting, whatever. We do it to see people saved, not to build churches. Jesus does that. We do that to see people, getting made disciples and following Jesus. That's what it's about. It's having that heart to say, we look at people eternally. And we have to carry that. We have to carry that.
What's your heart in that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I was just going to actually go back a little bit to what Jimmy shared a second ago, because I think you shared maybe what I would consider two vital points that need to be remembered in pioneering work. One, there's a harvest in existence. It's there. It's already there. We don't have to search for the harvest. It's there. We're told that in the Bible. And the second thing, and the verse, I can't remember the reference, the verse that you mentioned was that about the Lord working. God's already working. God has been there for us. He is in front of us. And it's Him that does the heavy work. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying pioneering is easy. Far from it. I don't mean that. But in a spiritual sense, it's God that does the work. It's God that does the heavy work. It's God that prepares the hearts. It is God who has, past tense, prepared the harvest. And it's just workers that are required. It is the workers that are called. And it is that burden upon us, upon our hearts for souls that would compel us into the harvest field. Without a doubt, I think from ever I got saved, that burden is something that for me personally, I have always had. It hasn't lay easily sometimes in some scenarios. I kind of felt a little bit a square peg in a round hole sometimes. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to be at it, and it culminated in, among other things, pioneering. So yeah, it's that heart for souls to see. Oh, the heart gets broken when you see the state of the world and people and lives that are destroyed. And we have that answer. We have it within us. We just need to share it.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is that people, they have this desire to just be able to face life with hope and with a sense of purpose and all of that. And the only way that they can truly find that is to connect in with Jesus and to have who they were originally created to be come to the surface and to be the real people that they were intended to be. But the role of the church, the role, especially in areas where there are no churches, the reason for church planting is for teams of people to go in, or even like Jimmy, just with the burden, going in practically on his own at the start, and just going in to bring that hope and to connect people with the heart of God, but also to be willing to go on a journey with them. When I'm talking to people, I love to just say, we need to go on a journey. That's what Jesus did. He didn't just sort of, get people to pray and to receive salvation. Right? He said, no, follow me. Come and walk with me. And as they walked with him, they learned from him. They learned his ways by the example that he set and all of that sort of stuff. But even as he sent the church, or sent the disciples just in readiness for the church being birthed on the day of Pentecost, the big thing for me was he said, go, make disciples. So people who become like Jesus. And the one big thing that he said that they needed to do on that journey was to teach them to obey all the things that I have commanded you. So it's about bringing people into this journey, this lifelong following journey. And then the further you go on, you may even end up becoming lead followers, but we always, it's always about being followers. So what does that look like in a church plant context? What does it look like, leading people to obey Jesus? What do you think, guys?
I think I mean, for me, at the start of church plant or pioneering, it has to be, even the teaching and the preaching. I mean, this is just my thing, is to saturate people with Jesus.
Yeah.
So they get to know Jesus, not a list of do's or don'ts, just, you're saved by this amazing person who you have an
Yeah.
amazing relationship. Stay close to him and you will change. That work of the Holy Spirit will do that. And just seeing that outworking of being people close to Jesus is that's where you watch and you go, wow, these people are becoming disciples, because of closeness. And it was like in Acts with Peter and John, it was like they took note that they had been with Jesus. These were ordinary, unschooled kind of people, but they took note that they had been with Jesus. And yeah, the closer you are to Jesus, the more people take note that you are. You've been with them, and things are different. Things are different. Life is different.
The key to everything. Oh, apologies, Jimmy.
No, sorry, Jim.
Sorry. No, I was just agreeing with you. The key to everything is that abiding in Christ, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that walking closely with Jesus, that you can hear his very heart in everything. Without a doubt, it's that abiding in Christ. It's the key to it all.
Yeah. Few people on commenting. Claire, a blessing. She's in our house group here. Just a blessing. She's always encouraging. Hello, Claire. There's a couple of names I can't pronounce. I think they're friends of yours, Jimmy. So I'll put that one up on the screen. You'll maybe be able to pronounce that. Apologies. I struggle with English names. So yeah, I think a huge thing is this journey, and you have this burden for souls. You want to begin to do something. It's interesting just hearing both the guys talking about you just want to get out there and do something. And so you go on that journey, and very often, as people start that journey, they don't really know what to do. I think we all, right across the Western Church, we need to get better at helping people to do what God has called them to do. I think that's a huge thing. But you begin to do things. And some people are hesitant to do that because they think that they have to be on this journey for, 5 years of training and all this sort of stuff. And so a pioneering journey can simply start with neighbours at your table, with connecting with someone in the village down the street, and just this one-on-one friendship that develops, and an intentional desire to bring people into relationship with Jesus. And it's very simple. You just begin to be friends with people and talk about Jesus. It really doesn't get any more complicated than that. But what would you say to people who have a heart to begin to do something in their own street? COVID has really turned the world upside down. And every community needs hope. Every community needs love, needs Jesus. What would you say to people who are standing on the threshold, seeing the need to do something, but maybe feel that they don't have the experience or don't have all the things that they think they need? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would, sorry, Jimmy. First,
go, Jimmy. No.
Everybody has the ability to speak. Okay, they can talk to people. One word you used there was intentional. That's the key to it. Yeah, you need to be intentional about it. You can have a conversation with anybody. You can have a conversation with your neighbour. And if the heart is intentional to bring that person into a conversation, leading to in time to a deeper conversation, a spiritual conversation, begin with a conversation. Say hello, casual. Just be intentional about communicating and connecting with your neighbours. But the first thing is obviously prayer, John. Everything needs to be birthed in prayer. Pray, and then when you're finished, pray a little more.
Yeah, absolutely crucial. And I love just that phrase that anything burst needs to be birthed in prayer. And what is it? There's a scripture, I can't put my finger on the verse right now, but it comes to mind. And very simply, anything that's born of God through prayer and something birthing in a deep way in us by God, anything birthed by God overcomes the world. And that's
Mm.
just a beautiful thought. It really is powerful. So, Jimmy, what would you say to people who have a heart to do something in their street or their community and they think that they're hesitant? What would you say to them?
Do you know, I would kind of just say what Jeremy said, you know, the practicalities of it. We have burdens, but we sometimes we feel unconfident in our, you know, level of understanding or the Bible or all this, and we don't need that. I mean, Jesus says when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you'll be witnesses. And I think one of the best things to do is keep praying and praying and praying to be filled with the Spirit, and that gives you a boldness to witness. And you know, we have one lady in our church. I don't know if she's watching just now, but she's amazing. You know, in her community, she knows everybody. And what she'll do is she'll invite people just into her house, and she's got this big blackboard as you go out, you know, on her wall going out. And what she'll do is you're not allowed to leave unless you put a prayer request up there to get prayed
Brilliant.
for. You know, it's just amazing, and she just connects with so many people.
Brilliant.
You know, but it's having that. It's about being prayed up, really.
Yeah,
You know, because when we're full of the Spirit, we Jesus just does the rest through us.
yeah, yeah. See, I think one of the big lies of the enemy is the fact that he has convinced a lot of the church that people they don't want to hear about Jesus. They're not really
Mm,
in. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I
yeah.
believe interested in religion. I agree with them, and many other things. But yes, they will be interested in Jesus, and it's just our part to make that connection and relationship where we get the opportunity. And if we're intentional about it, that's when God opens the doors.
Yeah.
If we're
Mhm.
sitting, don't expect God to drop it on our lap. We need to be going out and be at it, and that's when He opens the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the
Mm.
biggest thing is just when you see a need. I think it was Bill Wilson who originally said this, the biggest Sunday school in the world in New York. And he just said, if you see a need, just meet that need. Just go and do something. Go and
Mm.
we do need to pray. We need to do all of that, but we also have to just get out there and do something. And so,
Mm.
if you see someone at the end of the street with a need, and we're talking about the most simple pioneering opportunities here, right? If you see someone at the end of the street with a need, of course, pray and pray and pray about getting that need met. But maybe you're the answer to the prayer and just get out there and meet that need. And it might be something really simple. It may be something
Mm.
that'll cost you. There's a cost to going on this journey. And it's good to
Mm.
count the cost and be willing to pay the price anyway. But
Mm.
it's just sometimes meeting that need and whatever that need is in the community, just giving yourself to that. And so it starts. I love one author puts it like this, and he said to achieve anything, you've got to act your way into a new way of thinking. And
Mm.
I think that's just a brilliant comment. So just pray, of course, and do all of that stuff, but just do something. And so if you see someone who needs love, just go and bless them. Go and do something. Invite them to your table. Do whatever you can do, but just be a blessing. And when you touch someone's heart, they're always going to be thankful. They're always going to be grateful. And they will be very keen to understand why you're doing it. And it really does get that simple. It really is.
Can I just say something,
Of
John? Is that
course.
all right? And another great way is I've told another couple of guys to do this is go on Facebook into the community pages on Facebook, because there's always people that are going, has anybody got this? Has anybody got that? You know, kids' clothes, whatever it is, fridge, freezer. That's a great way of connecting with people. I'm sure your church can kind of get together and you know meet the need of someone. It's we done it in Armadale quite a few times, and we started connecting with people there. So that's kind of a good tool.
Yeah. And so sometimes whenever we think, and we're getting close to finishing, but when we think of the whole concept of church planting, and maybe you're watching this and you've been saying, I would absolutely love to do something in relation to, starting a new work or planting a new church or something. And we'll think of all the bells and whistles and the big services and all of the things that's maybe expected of church in the Western world. I personally don't think a lot of that stuff's necessary. It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. But to begin something new, very often it can be as simple as half a dozen people around a table doing a Bible study, having a meal together, breaking bread together, whatever. It can just be something as simple as a family around your table, a couple of neighbours around your table, a couple of work colleagues around your table, and just beginning to just chat through stuff. And if people come with needs, and you pray together about those needs, and it's something really, this doesn't have to be rocket science, it doesn't have to be simple. Do any of you guys want to say anything about a particular journey where you felt you needed to do certain things and began to realise the opposite, or what way did it work for you?
When you
Well,
go,
we
Jim.
began. We began in our living room
Yeah.
with a group of people. That's where we started, and we had a kitchen which was pretty much the same size, and that was the crash stroke kids place. We progressed from that. But listen, one thing, I hold my hands up and say I've made lots and lots and lots of mistakes, but it has been a journey, and I have learned a lot on that journey, and it's been a steep learning curve. But what I have learned, John and Jimmy, is that there is no one size fits all here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
You can have a church building and a church meeting, that's fine. But as John says, it doesn't have to be that. I really value the small groups now. The face to face over a coffee. I see the value in that. I see the value in relationships, evangelism through relationships, through connecting with your neighbours in the community in a really kind of organic way. And I definitely am on a journey along that path, and I see the benefit. And I see how people are. I'm trying to get the right word here, and I can't get it. They're a little bit. I've had a brain fader. I can't get the right word.
Apprehensive.
They're not about religion and about kind of institutionalized things, but I still believe they're interested in Jesus, and they will be. The best mode of evangelism has always been one-to-one relationship. It's what Jesus did. Brought them into relationship, took them on a journey, and there you go.
Yeah. The most exciting journey that's possible. And I hope you've heard our hearts tonight. Something happened within us that created a burden. We just simply wanted to get out there and do something, reach people. For the three of us, the big picture's similar. The journeys look a wee bit different. But if you have a burden for your community, then you do what you feel is the right thing to do to meet the need in your community. And so we just really want to inspire you tonight just to go and do something. Pray for the people around you. Just simply go and do something. There's no particular way that it must look. It can be doing something in your garden. It can be doing something around your table. It could be doing something in a cafe or a community centre down the street just for a handful of people. And if you would love to be able to do some of that, and you want some practical resources, whether it's Discovery Bible Studies or whatever, to help people discover faith in Jesus or anything like that, get in touch with us. We'll help you. We'll give you the resources. We'll provide a lot of stuff that will help you to get kicked off without a whole pile of work going into it. And the big thing is, God has you specifically and purposely placed exactly where you are, because He has designed you perfectly to reach the people around you, the people that you rub shoulders with every day. And don't take those opportunities lightly, because Jesus has a purpose and a plan for your life, and He wants to help you. So tonight, this is primarily aimed at the church, especially those who have a desire in their heart to do something, to reach someone, to do maybe a new thing in their area or whatever. And our passion is to help you to do that. And I'm sure if you're in Scotland, that's a great guy for you to get in touch with, Jimmy. He's overseeing the church planting work at the minute in Scotland for Elim, and so he would love, I'm sure, to connect with you. If you're in Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland, give us a shout, and me or Jeremy will certainly be able to help. But Richard Snedden just said, good point about relationship to get opportunities to witness. It's all about those simple relationships, and especially when they're done intentionally, something beautiful begins to happen. So don't be afraid to get in touch. We will give ourselves to helping you to start this, especially in Ireland. If you are in the Donegal, the Longford, or the Mid Ulster areas, we'll be able to help specifically in those areas. If you're from further afield, then get in touch. If you're from Scotland, get in touch with Jimmy, and get in touch with us. We'll be able to put you in contact. But do something. Anything in your heart, guys, before we finish off? No?
Who? Me? Oh, us?
Whoever, yeah.
I would just like to say something. You know, when Jesus, it says that Jesus had to go through Samaria. We know the story. He meets a woman at a well. He speaks into her brokenness, and when she figures out that he's a Messiah, she goes away and she goes in and she tells everybody what's happened. And there's kind of a mini revival. Listen, pray for that person in your community, just that one person apiece. And we've seen it happen. Just one person say, Lord, where are you working? Who needs you? Where do I need to go through today to see you move? So I would just encourage you to do that. There's people out there.
Yeah.
Now
the chances are, sorry, Jimmy, I've done this continually. I've spoke over you.
Go for it.
It's all right.
The chances are most people that are looking on tonight probably are saved people, church people, Christian people. But just in case there's some who are not, if you've heard the conversations, we have talked about a compassion and a desire to care and to help. All that is a reflection of the heart of God, and He has a heart and a desire to help you tonight. If you're watching and you don't yet know Him, and listen, if you would want to know anything more about it, if you want to know or have a conversation about it, please get in touch with Jimmy, get in touch with John.
Bless you guys. It's been so good to have this conversation with you. Over the next number of weeks, we're going to be on doing this on Sunday nights. Sometimes we'll be streaming from this page, other times we'll be streaming from personal pages. But it's just such a beautiful thing to introduce people to Jesus. And so we're going to talk about Him. We're going to talk about the person of Christ. Why would you follow Him in the 21st century? Why would you follow Jesus in a COVID world? And so we're going to have some really, really special conversations with many good friends coming on over the next wee while to chat with in these topics. And so connect in with us on Sunday evenings. We'll be in around this time, and really excited just on these days as we are in a potential lockdown. We're certainly not moving around the same as we did last year. And so if you're at the house on a Sunday night, connect in, share it with your family and friends, and let's talk about Jesus. He's the answer to every problem this world has ever seen. And as you step into that, He changes us like never before. And here's an old mate on from Armagh, Richard, and he says, keep her lit. And there's no greater thing. Good to see you, Richard. And I've developed a very deep theology for that. Philippians 3:14, I press towards the goal of the upward call in Christ. So Richard taught me many amazing things, and that's one of them. Keep her lit. Keep pressing on. Don't ever hold back. Just keep pursuing Christ and all that He has for your life. What a way to end. God bless you. Amen. Really, really good to have you on tonight. Speak soon.
Talk to you soon.